It's been described as the biggest ever exposé of financial secrets and appears to implicate presidents, prime ministers and billionaires. The leaked files have been dubbed the Pandora Papers. Our international affairs editor Dominic Baghorn is here with more details. Dominic.
Gillian, we are used to seeing the super rich hiding their money away offshore. It's a kind of prerogative of the super rich, you might like to say. And for a long time, they've been able to get away with it without being snooped on. And then we've seen sort of one investigation after another looking at what they've been doing. But all the investigations so far have been based on leaks from one company. This is based on leaks from 14 companies, and it's a huge net they've cast, and it's thrown up some very interesting facts. We've got, if we look at this sort of summary of what the Pandora Papers has been looking at, nearly 12 million, 11.9 million files have been leaked to the investigators, uncovering the hidden assets of 35 current and former world leaders and more than 300 politicians and officials and some celebrities in there as well, we understand. And the documents coming from 14 offshore service providers. So those are people working for those offshore service providers leaking information to these investigators. And you might think that we're talking about Caribbean tax havens. So the classic offshore haven is the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands, if you like. But one place that seems to be coming up again and again in this investigation is much closer to home. It's London, and despite all the controversy about London being somewhere where ill-gotten gains are parked, it remains the place, according to Pete Jones from one of the groups investigating this, the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. London remains a big problem at the heart of this.
I think it should be worrying that regulators, law enforcement are struggling to track down the people who are behind these kinds of schemes because they're hidden by the secrecy offered by some of these tax havens. There doesn't really seem to be the political will to track down this dirty money. And instead, it leaves places like London as a kind of open, welcoming venue for that kind of dirty money. And any dirty money compromises the integrity of any economy.
Now, you might be wondering who's been singled out for various legal reasons. We can't name too many names, but one of them is the Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babis, who's accused in these investigations of acquiring a $12 million chateau in France on the French Riviera with 2 swimming pools and a cinema. And he's come out fighting tonight on Twitter, rejecting the allegations, saying the following: "I have never done anything illegal or wrong, but that does not prevent them from trying to denigrate me again and influence the Czech parliamentary election." So he is defending himself. I think in the days ahead, we're going to see more and more names being brought out into the open. Kings, politicians, dictators, public officials, all accused of being involved in using offshore havens, not necessarily illegally, but not within the spirit of the law, and certainly taking recourse to the kind of methods that we as ordinary people can't use to try and make the most of our money.
An ongoing story that we'll keep across. Dominic, thank you.